Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I'm going to show you a different way to do a box. I did one before, but this is a different box for my albums. And I built it using some cardboard. I mean, it's the same idea, but instead of doing a box base and then a lid that goes over the top, I just created this hinged box. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Well, let's get started. Okay, to make that box, we're going to start with 2 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. We're going to score one, and we're going to make a 7 by 7 box. So we're going to score at 2.5 inches all the way around, one on the base and one in the top, because we're going to make a box base and a box lid, both at 2.5 inches. So we'll start with this one, and we'll score at the base, which if you have a Crafter's Companion scoreboard, it's scoring from the right hand side is your box base. And it's hard to score sideways, but do the best I can here. And while I've got my scoreboard out, I'm going to go ahead and score this one on the top, also at 2.5. But again, since this is a box lid, I'm going to score from the left-hand side this time. And I'm not pushing down really hard. I'm just scoring fairly gently, but doing it twice. This is not super thick cardstock. I don't want to push too hard. I'll rip it. But I want to give it a good score, so that's why I'm doing it twice. So twice gently is much better than once really hard, because if you do it once really hard, you're going to rip your cardstock. And let's go ahead and fold and burnish these. We're going to go ahead and make our box lid and base just like you sort of normally would. Don't worry too much at this, but if you have cardstock that's not extremely thick or heavyweight, we're going to use some cardboard to reinforce it, so it'll be nice and sturdy. So, because this is more like heavy paper than cardstock. Set that one to the side, and let's do the next one. Okay, the next thing that we need are 5 pieces of cardboard. We need 2 that are 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. This you can use mount board, you can use whatever you want. This is actually the backs of paper pads. The cardboard that comes on the back of paper pads works really well. I need 2 that are 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, 1 that's 7 1/4 by 4, and 2 that are 7 1/4 by 2 1/2. Now, each of those are going to get wrapped in white cardstock. So you can see this is going to go on there. So this is 8 1/2 by 3 1/2, and that just gives me enough room to kind of wrap it around. And then this one's 8 1/2 by 6. It's going to go on that one. And then 2 that are 8 1/2 by 8 1/2 to go on here. So let me wrap I'll wrap one and show you how I did that, and then I'll finish the rest, and you don't have to watch me do it over and over again because it's the same process for each and every one of them. So you're just going to glue the cardboard. Down in the center of the cardstock. Now you can use white, you can use any color you want. I just used white because that's going to be the back, the base of mine. You could use craft card. I did one in craft card that looked really good. Now once you get it on there, because you're gonna wrap this just like this around each of these pieces. Okay, but if you do this, the corners, I mean, I guess they don't look bad, but they don't look great. So the way to make those corners look good is to just trim them, kind of like when you're making a box, and you're going to trim it at an angle, kind of right up to that corner. Just like that. Then when you wrap this, you're going to get a nice clean corner. So you're going to do that on all 4 corners. Then you're going to glue these down. Now you can use whatever you want. I'm going to use my tacky glue because it grabs quickly. And we'll just give a quick smear on each of the tabs. And then you're just going to fold one at a time and hold it until it grabs. And I find I like to do opposites so that my corners are all kind of look even or the same. And just wrap that over and hold it. You can make these pieces a little bit bigger if you feel like you want a little more room to wrap over, but 1/2 inch is actually fine. Just and you've just wrapped that piece of cardboard. And you're going to do the same thing on all of the other pieces of cardboard. So I'll be back with you as soon as I'm done with that. Okay, I've got all my pieces wrapped, all ready to go. Let's assemble the box. So we start with our box base and our box lid, and our base is going to go inside of our lid, just like that. But we're going to put some glue in there to hold it together and to make it nice and sturdy. So we'll just put just putting glue on each side and on the bottom. And this box is just going to slide inside. This is the base, this is the lid, and they just slide together like that. But it makes a nice sturdy base to work from. And just press it all down good. Give it a good burnish so that glue sticks. Now you're going to take that box and you're going to set it on top of one of the square pieces. And you're just going to set it to one side. So if you can see that, you're going to center it this way, and then you're going to slide it up and set it mostly to that edge. You want to leave enough room on here because you're going to put this piece on there like that, and you want that to be even, so you need a little bit of room there and a little bit less room on the other side. So let's do that. Again, get some glue, glue it up. I like the Kalala all purpose because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to get it in the right place, as opposed to the tacky glue is nice, but it grabs really quickly. So set that on there and then wiggle it around until you get it right where you want it. And try to make sure you get it nice and straight on the sides. Once you get it in place, burnish it all down. And we're going to set that to the side for a minute. And we're going to set this piece also to the side. Now we're going to come in and we're going to assemble the piece that wraps around. This piece is 7 1/4 by 16 1/4. I probably should have left it at 17, but it's okay because I forgot. As you layer these pieces in, you're going to leave about 1/8 of an inch between them. It's 16 1/4, but then you need the layers. So you're going to put these pieces face down. Now this is the 4-inch piece, and we're going to put it to this right side, right up to the edge. So you lay it down, and it should fit exactly across, but slide it all the way up to that edge. So that's why the Kalal glue is nice. You can pick it up and wiggle it right into place. Okay, the next one that's going to go down is your 2 1/2-inch one. And this is going to go right next to this one, but you have to leave enough room because these have to bend, and so they can't be bending on top of each other. So you need just enough room, and that's again why the Kalal glue is kind of nice, because you can make sure you got enough room. So that looks good. So that's about how much room you need, about 1/8 of an inch. Then the next one is going to be your 7 1/4-inch square. Again, you're going to wiggle that right into place. And again, you need to leave that 1/8 of an inch or so because, again, this is going to bend. So go a little bit closer. And that looks pretty good. So once you get that in there, give it a good press down. And get that to hold. Make sure that's good and stuck down. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut some mats and layers, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I've got all my mats and layers done, and that should be pretty dry. So now this is going to wrap around just like that. So I have to glue this piece onto there, right there at the end. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue to the outside of this right there, and that'll make it easier to do. So let's get some tacky glue. And this is where I said if you made it longer, then it would be the same length as this, and it would be a little bit easier, but this is fine. It'll work fine. But you're just going to basically hide this flap on the inside of this. So you want to get it nice and even and straight. And it's going to be right up to that edge where it bends. Give it a good burnish down. Now this piece is going to glue onto your box, and you can basically pick a side, whichever side you want. Trying to decide. I think this side has the most room, so I'm going to put it on there. And we're going to put some tacky glue, all the way down this whole flap, because that piece of cardboard is now going to go all the way across that. Make sure you get it all the way to the top, and also on this little lip at the bottom, because it's going to sit right on top of there. And I either take a scrap of card, or I just use the bottle to sort of spread it out a little bit. So you get it all the way to the edges. Like that. And this piece is going to sit right on there, right up to the edge. And you're just going to hold it until it grabs. And kind of rub underneath so you can kind of burnish it. And that way that wraparound piece is sandwiched between the two boxes, the box base, box lid that are sandwiched together, and this piece of cardboard. And that's it, and then you just decorate. So that's grabbed. I think it's drying. While it's drying, I can go ahead and decorate. So I've got my decorations that I did, and all matted and layered, and I'm just gonna glue them right on. And the sunset picture I did with Crafter's Companion water reactive inks, and then the Stampin' Die for the palm tree. The sun, I just masked off a circle, just cut a circle with my nesting dies out of masket tape, masked that off, did my inking, and then I did, oh, these were actually, I did with shimmering, so I had to take that back. And then this is a die set that I have from, that's not Crafter's Companion. I wish Crafter's Companion would do a beachy palm trees and tropical fish kind of themed thing, but they do not have one. And then this just wraps right around like that. And on that top, I just have a plain piece of yellow. On this side, I have another one that I did, similar, but instead of the die cuts, I just used a stamp. But you can decorate it however you want. Other ones I've used shimmer inks with stencils or other die cuts, or whatever you have. It's going to go right on there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces on the sides. And I just have my cover, or my flap that comes over the top. You just want to, if you have a design, you want to make sure you get this on the right direction. So it's going to go right there. So that when it's closed, it sort of matches the design. Then we're going to add a handle on there. And this piece is, it's just 8.5 by 1.25 inches. And then I just mat and layered it. It's kind of too long, so I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to make it 6 inches. I use my guillotine so it's nice and straight. Then the easiest thing to do is to score at about 1 inch in on each side, because that's going to fold up and that's where you're going to glue. You make your handle as long or as short as you want, or you don't even have to put a handle on it if you don't want. You could just do a ribbon pull or something. But so you just fold that, and then you want to curve in between. Just like that. So that looks like that. And it's going to glue right on there. So get a little tacky glue. On each little tab. And then you're going to get it as close to the middle as you can and as even side to side as you can. Looks pretty good. And then you can push it in if you want it to loop higher, or leave it a little flatter like that. And that's it. Oh, we're not quite done. I'm going to put some little Velcro dots on there to keep it closed. So when it's closed, it'll stay closed, just like that. So the easiest way to do Velcro dots, I showed you in a previous video, but I'll do it one more time, is these are just adhesive Velcro dots. So the easiest way to do it is to pick up one, stick it onto the other, and then pick up both of them. Put a little bit of tacky glue on the one side. Open this up, decide where you want it, and stick it. And leave that the other half stuck on there. Now that's sticky, so we're going to put a little bit of tacky glue on that side too. But leave it open because we got to do the other one. So get the second. You could just put one, I guess, if you wanted to. But I'm going to put one on each side because it's a decent space across. So I'll put about the same spot on the other side. Gotta get it off my finger. And a little bit of tacky glue. And then you're going to fold it up. Well, let me get these out of the way. And I got these just on Amazon. It's a box of like, I don't know, 1,000 of them or something. It was cheap. And then you're going to make sure it's all lined up straight. Fold it up where you want it. And then just close it and hold it until that tacky glue grabs. And don't try to open it until that glue is dry, or if you try to open it, you'll rip your paper underneath. But just hold it until it's dry. And then the first couple times you open it, kind of get your finger in there and hold onto them so that they don't rip the paper. And that's it. We're done. And my little memory album's going to go right on the inside of that. All right, and that's it. Pretty box. Looks like a little suitcase. 7 by 7 by 2.5. So it'll hold a nice 6 by 6 memory album. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a good evening.